In 1967, a 24-year-old singer released a song about a boy who jumped off a bridge. She never said why he did it, not in the lyrics, not in interviews, not once, in over 50 years.
I was out chopping cotton and my brother was baling hay.
That song hit #1 on the charts. She won 3 Grammy Awards in a single night. And then, a few years later, she walked away from the music business completely.
Si te quiere de verdad.
That story is coming up at #1, and trust me, it's worth the wait.
There's gotta be a little rain sometime.
One song, one moment, and that single song becomes the only thing anybody remembers, no matter what else they recorded before it or after it. Today, we're counting down 10 country artists whose entire legacy rides on one track.
Get to the station in my pickup truck.
Number 10, C.W. McCall, Convoy, 1975. Picture the mid-1970s. Truckers all over America are running CB radios, dodging speed traps, and talking to each other in their own secret code.
They got the front door, good buddy. Mercy sakes alive, it looks like we've got us a convoy.
Into that world drops a song about a trucker with the handle Rubber Duck, who organizes a massive convoy of 18-wheelers to blow straight past a police roadblock. That song is Convoy.
And this here's a rubber duck, and I'm about to put the hammer down.
And it shot all the way to #1 on both the country charts and the pop charts.
And choppers filled the skies. Well, we shot the line, we went for broke with the
Here's the part almost nobody knows. C.W. McCall wasn't even a real person's stage name. He was a character. An advertising executive named Bill Fries invented him for a local bread commercial.
By the time we hit that shy town, them bears was getting smart. They'd brought up some real.
Fries leaned so hard into the trucker persona that it turned into an actual recording career, and Convoy became one of the biggest novelty hits in music history.
Hey, you want to give me a 10-9 on that Big Ben? Negatory, Big Ben, you're still too close.
The song was such a massive cultural moment that it inspired an entire movie. Convoy, directed by Sam Peckinpah and starring Chris Christopherson, hit theaters in 1978.
Yeah, we got a great big convoy, ain't she a beautiful sight?
A full feature film built around the radio handle from a 3-minute song. And that's really the whole story of C.W. McCall's career. He recorded other songs. None of them mattered. Convoy was the lightning strike, and it's still the only reason most people know the name at all.
Stuck in Convoy, across USA, Convoy.
He eventually left music behind for good and became the real-life mayor of a small town in Colorado, which might be the most country ending imaginable.
Suicide jockey? Yeah, he's hauling dynamite and he needs all the help he can get. Well,
If a fake trucker with a fake name could turn one song into forever, our next artist proves you don't need a gimmick at all. Sometimes all it takes is one scandal, one small town, and one very catchy chorus.
them hogs, 10-4, about 5 miles or so, 10 Roger, them hogs is getting intense up.
Number 9, Jeannie C. Riley, Harper Valley PTA, 1968.
Attended Harper Valley Junior High.
Written by the legendary Tom T. Hall, Harper Valley PTA tells the story of a widowed mother who gets called out by her local parent-teacher association for wearing short skirts and running around town.
Afternoon and didn't even stop to play.
Instead of backing down, she stands up at the next PTA meeting and calls out every single one of them for their own secret bad behavior.
Reported you've been drinking and running round with men and going wild.
It's a song about hypocrisy, and small towns absolutely loved it, and so did everyone else. A few conservative radio stations were nervous about playing a song this scandalous. It didn't matter.
A Harper Valley widowed wife.
Harper Valley PTA became the first record in history to hit #1 on the country chart and the pop chart in the same week. It sold in the millions and made Jeannie C. Riley a star practically overnight.
Harper couldn't be here 'cause he stayed too long at Kelly's bar again.
But here's the twist. That instant fame came with a price tag Riley didn't expect, and it's why almost nobody can name a single other song she ever released.
And shouldn't Gwyneth Jones be told to keep her window shades off?
The album cover leaned hard into a sexy image that didn't actually match who Riley was as a person, and she spent years fighting to be seen as more than a costume.
And they were sure surprised when Mrs. Johnson wore her miniskirt into the room.
She later moved into gospel music entirely, walking away from the image the industry built around her.
Nail Shirley Thompson's breath, you'll find she's had a little nip of gin.
The song was massive enough to spawn a movie in 1978 and a TV series a few years after that, and yet Harper Valley PTA remains the only thing most fans can name from her catalog.
Why your secretary had to leave this town.
If scandal was the fuel behind Jeannie C. Riley's One Big Moment, our next artist's story starts somewhere much darker, behind bars, years before his voice ever hit a record.
Going wild. And we don't believe you.
Number 8. Freddie Fender, Before the Next Teardrop Falls, 1975.
If he brings you happiness.
Before he was a chart-topping star, Freddie Fender, born Baldemar Huerta in Texas, served real prison time in Louisiana after a drug conviction in the late 1950s.
If he ever breaks your heart. If the tear.
It nearly ended his music career before it started. He spent years afterward rebuilding, playing small clubs along the Texas-Mexico border, unsure if the industry would ever give him another shot.
Pero si Dios se llora.
Then, in 1975, everything changed. Before the Next Teardrop Falls, a heartbreak ballad sung partly in English and partly in Spanish, became a massive crossover smash.
Cry. And if he ever leaves you blue.
It hit number 1 on both the country and pop charts and turned Freddie Fender into one of the biggest new stars in the entire genre.
Breaks your heart. If the teardrops.
Fun fact, it was one of the first mainstream country hits to feature Spanish-language lyrics, and it opened doors for bilingual country music that are still open today. After that peak, Fender didn't chase down another solo hit anywhere near as big, but he found a second wind years later as a founding member of the group Texas Tornadoes, earning a Grammy with them in the 1990s.
The best. It's your happiness that.
Still, ask anyone what song made Freddie Fender a star, and there's only one answer.
Before the next teardrop falls.
Speaking of second chances, our next artist didn't need one. He just needed one song weird enough that people are still quoting it 50 years later.
A mí me puedes hablar.
Number 7. David Allan Coe, You Never Even Called Me By My Name, 1975.
So useless to remain.
This one is a little different, because the song is actually in on the joke. Written mainly by Steve Goodman, with a final verse added by John Prine.
Mind is standing in the rain.
The track opens with David Allan Coe explaining that a friend told him this was the perfect country and western song. Why? Because it hits every classic country topic in one track. Trucks, prison, trains, getting drunk, and mama. All crammed into one song about heartbreak. It sounds like a novelty. It is a novelty, but it became one of the most quoted, most covered songs in the genre's history.
Get to the station in my pickup truck.
And it's the reason David Allan Coe is still a household name in country circles decades later.
You never even called me by my name.
Fun fact, the song's self-aware gag became so iconic that it's still used today to teach new songwriters the classic tropes of a perfect country song. Trucks, prison, mama, trains, and drinking, in that exact order.
Pick her up in the rain.
Coe recorded plenty of other material across a long career, but none of it stuck the way this one did.
Sometimes it seems so useless to remain.
If David Allan Coe's legacy is one giant wink at country music tradition, our next artist's legacy is the exact opposite. One of the most sincere, most old-fashioned heartbreak songs the genre ever produced. Number 6. Lynn Anderson, I Never Promised You a Rose Garden, 1970. Written by Joe South, Rose Garden became one of the best-selling country singles ever recorded by a woman at the time it came out. It hit number 1 on the country charts and cracked the top 5 on the pop charts, a genuine crossover monster.
Pardon, I never promised you a rose garden.
Lynn Anderson won a Grammy for it, and the song made her one of the most recognizable voices in the entire genre almost overnight.
Sing you a tune and promise you the moon. That's what it takes to hold.
Fun fact, the phrase, I never promised you a rose garden, became so famous that it's still used today as a common expression about relationships, about life, about managing expectations, by plenty of people who have never even heard the song itself.
So smile for a while and let's be jolly.
Lynn Anderson recorded for decades after that. She had other chart entries, but none of them came close to matching the size of this one moment, and it's still the song her name is permanently attached to.
Rose garden, along with the sunshine.
Our next entry takes us somewhere completely different, from a heartfelt ballad to one of the loudest, rowdiest party anthems country music has ever produced.
To pull you out, and you know what I'm talking about.
Number 5. Big and Rich, Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy, 2004.
Passing out $100 bills, and it kills and it thrills like the horns on.
When the duo of John Rich and Big Kenny released this as their debut single in 2004, nobody could have predicted just how massive it would become. It turned into a full-blown cultural phenomenon, a staple at weddings, karaoke nights, and sporting events for the next 2 decades.
Bread, that's what she said in the back of my truck bed as I was getting buzzed on.
But that success came with backlash almost immediately, and it split country fans right down the middle. Traditionalists and critics dismissed the song as gimmicky, calling it more party pop than real country. Radio stations edited some of the cheekier lyrics, but the backlash didn't slow it down one bit. If anything, the controversy made it more famous.
Reputation had me begging for salvation all night long.
And it's often credited as one of the songs that kicked off the loud, party anthem style of country that dominated the following decade.
And I saddle up my horse and I ride into the city.
Big and Rich went on to release plenty of other music, together and apart, plus helped launch other artists through their collective, the Music Mafia. But if you stopped someone on the street today and asked them to name a Big and Rich song, there's only one real answer.
And I saddle up my horse and I ride into the city. I make a
From one of country's loudest legacies to one of its quietest and most nostalgic, our next artist wrote a song about a single summer night that still hasn't stopped playing on the radio.
$100 bills, and it kills and it thrills like the horns on my Silverado.
Number 4. Deanna Carter, Strawberry Wine, 1996.
Had a car. Yeah, I was caught somewhere.
Written by Matraka Berg and Gary Harrison, Strawberry Wine is a coming-of-age story about first love at 17, set on one unforgettable summer evening.
The fields have grown over now, years since they've seen the plow.
Deanna Carter's version hit number 1 on the country charts, won the Country Music Association's Song of the Year award, and helped push her debut album into multi-platinum territory, one of the best-selling debut albums by a woman in the genre at that point.
Strawberry wine, 17.
Fun fact, nearly 3 decades later, Strawberry Wine still shows up on nearly every best summer country songs list ever published, and it's one of the most streamed nostalgia tracks from the entire 1990s country era. Despite the critical praise and the commercial success of that debut, Carter never hit those same chart heights again. And yet none of that matters, because Strawberry Wine alone is enough to make her a permanent part of country music history.
Like strawberry wine.
Our next artist's story is the opposite of quiet nostalgia. It's one of the loudest, most divisive debuts the genre has ever seen, and it turned him into a superstar in a matter of weeks.
Is it really him or the loss of my innocence?
Number 3. Ricochet, Daddy's Money, 1996. Let's start with a band that had everything a mid-90s country act needed to blow up. 5 guys, tight harmonies, and a song that radio couldn't stop playing. Daddy's Money shot up the charts and turned Ricochet into an overnight sensation on the Nashville scene. Here's the part that stings, though. The band kept making music for years afterward. Solid albums, respected musicianship, but radio had already moved on to the next shiny new thing, and none of their follow-up singles ever came close to that first spark. They didn't fade because they got worse. They faded because the industry only had room for one moment, and they'd already used it. Fun fact, several members of Ricochet were seasoned Nashville session players before the band even formed, meaning some of them had already played on other artists' hits long before they got one of their own. Number 2. Roger Miller, King of the Road, 1964.
But 2 hours of pushing broom buys a
King of the Road tells the simple story of a drifter, a man with almost nothing, who still considers himself rich in his own way.
nothing trailers for sale or rent.
Released in 1964, it became one of the most recognized American songs of the entire decade, swept multiple categories at the Grammy Awards, and has been covered and recorded more times than almost any country song in history.
Means by no means king of the road.
Fun fact, Roger Miller actually had a whole second act most fans forget about. He later wrote and performed songs for Disney's animated Robin Hood in 1973, voicing the rooster minstrel character.
And it means by no means king of the road.
Then, in 1985, he won a Thoneey Award for writing the music to the Broadway musical Big River, making him one of the only country artists in history to succeed at that level on Broadway.
For sale or rent. Rooms to let 50 cents.
Impressive resume. Doesn't matter. Say the name Roger Miller anywhere in the world, and there's still only one song people hum back at you. And that brings us to number 1, the song and the disappearance that started this whole video.
I ain't got no cigarettes, but
Number 1, Bobby Gentry, Ode to Billy Joe, 1967.
And at dinner time we stopped and walked back to the house to eat.
Released in the summer of 1967, Ode to Billy Joe tells a quiet, unsettling story. A family sits down for dinner, and almost casually, someone mentions that a local boy, Billy Joe McAllister, jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge that day.
Brother was baling hay.
The family barely reacts, but the song hints that the narrator and Billy Joe once threw something off that same bridge together, and it never says what.
Oh, Billy Joe never had liquor sense.
The song shot straight to number 1 on the Billboard chart and won Bobby Gentry 3 Grammy Awards in a single night, including Best New Artist.
There's 5 more acres in the lower 40 I got.
It's one of the most successful debut singles by a woman in American music history.
I was out chopping cotton and my brother was baling hay.
Fun fact, for decades, fans have argued about what was actually thrown off that bridge. A ring, flowers, something far darker.
What's happened to your appetite?
Bobbie Gentry has never confirmed a single theory. Not in the song, not in an interview, not once, ever. And that mystery didn't stop with the lyrics.
I'll have another piece of apple pie. You know it don't seem...
Gentry built an enormous career through the 1970s. Her own Las Vegas shows, television specials, one of the most successful female performers of her era. Then, around the early 1980s, she simply walked away. No farewell tour, no goodbye interview. She has not made a public appearance or spoken to the press in decades.
Brother said he recollected when he and Tom and Billy Joe...
She is, quite literally, one of the most famous recluses in the history of American music. One unanswered mystery in the lyrics. One unanswered mystery in her own life. That's why, out of every artist on this list, Bobbie Gentry earns the #1 spot, a legacy built entirely on one song, and everything she never explained about it.
You know it don't seem right.